The views and comments of the hosts and guests are not necessarily those of the station.
Hi, I'm Nicole, Jacinto. Join us on Healthline with 𝗏𝗏𝗵𝗏 as we discuss the latest health and medical topics with doctors from 𝗏𝗏𝗵𝗏. For a healthier and uplifting lifestyle, tune into Healthline with 𝗏𝗏𝗵𝗏 on DZRJ 8:10 a.m. Radio Bandido TV. You've got questions, we've got answers.
Watch and listen to Healthline with 𝗏𝗏𝗵𝗏, Mondays, 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. Airing on Sky Cable Channel 224 and on all DTT boxes. Simulcasting online on Facebook and YouTube. Listen and watch on your mobile devices. Just search DZRJ Radio Bandido.
You're about to experience Healthline, a show where doctors from 𝗏𝗏𝗵𝗏 interact with you for a healthy, uplifting lifestyle. Moderated by Nicole Jacinto. You've got questions, we've got answers. So welcome to Healthline.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Healthline with 𝗏𝗏𝗵𝗏. I'm your host, Nicole Jacinto. Now, today on the show, we're going to talk about the benefits of breastfeeding or breastfeeding benefits. And with us today, we'll have as our guest, Dr. Teresa Maria Ribaño, who is a pediatric specialist from 𝗏𝗏𝗵𝗏, of course. She practices in 𝗏𝗏𝗵𝗏. So basically, she's a pediatrician and she's very well versed and she's the expert when it comes to breastfeeding, its benefits, and, other alternatives. And later on, we'll also discuss the benefits not only to the baby, but the mother. But I'll circle back to that later once we get to once we start our discussion with Dr. Ribaño. All right, folks. So anyway, today's August 26th here in Manila. And of course, if you need or want any kind of medical attention, you can always go to Makati Medical Center. That's in Makati City. It's right here in Metro Manila as well. I'd like to say hello to all the people who are watching from other parts of the world, other parts of the country, and to those who will watch the show not at this time. Maybe they're very busy right now, but at other times. Okay, so I actually want to say hello to an avid listener. I'd like to say hello to Jean Alberto or Oma Alberto. Okay. And also would like to say hello to our avid listener Maria. Hello to Marge, and hello to everyone else who is watching and who I trust will gain a lot of information and from this show, which is of course all about breastfeeding and its benefits. Good afternoon, Dr. Ribaño. Welcome to the show.
Oh, good afternoon.
Okay, guys, hang on. Hi, Dr. Ribaño.
I
Okay.
think we're having technical issues.
Yes, we are. Okay, so Dr. Ribaño, though of course we'll get through it, no matter what those issues are. Dr. Ribaño, may I ask you to first question, can you hear me, doctor? Hang on, folks, just a minute. Okay. So yes, we are having technical issues. Both on both ends, we're getting a bit frozen, but stay tuned, folks. Still a show worth watching. AJ, and then we can perhaps come right back in. Let's just do a commercial while we wait for the guest to come back in. All right. Thank you.
You're listening to DZRJ 8:10 a.m. We'll be right back after these reminders.
Hi,
This is Dr. 𝗛𝗶𝘁𝗵 from Makati Medical Center, and I'm happy to share that our world-class quality healthcare with the heart is now more accessible and affordable at Makati Med Care Access, Araneta City. What's more, Makati Med Care Access is the only single-use hemodialysis center in Araneta City. It's now easier for patients to avail of renal care services right in the heart of 𝗂𝗏𝗏. We offer health screening and diagnostic procedures in this facility at affordable rates. You can get services such as mammogram, ultrasound, lab procedures, ECG, and many others. We believe that access to affordable, quality, and compassionate healthcare is a basic human right. And we at Makati Med Care Access Araneta City are doing our best to make this possible to more people. You can find us at the ground floor of Manhattan Plaza Tower 1 in Araneta Center, 𝗂𝗏𝗏. We are open from Mondays to Saturdays from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Sundays from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. For inquiries, you may reach out to us at the numbers below. We look forward to serving you here at Makati Med Care Access, Araneta City. World-class quality healthcare with a heart is now more accessible and affordable with Makati Med Care Access. I am Dr. 𝗛𝗶𝗁𝗏 from Makati Medical Center. Our mission is to serve and provide compassionate care and excellent service to everyone who needs it. And now, we are bringing our renowned brand of world-class healthcare to where you are. With Makati Med Care Access, we have expanded our services beyond the hospital premises to serve you in convenient locations where you can avail of premium but economical healthcare. The Makati Med Care Access Araneta City is where we offer health screening and diagnostic procedures. Here, you can get services such as mammogram, ultrasound, lab procedures, ECG, and many others. What's more, Makati Med Care Access Araneta City is the only single-use hemodialysis center in Araneta City. This makes it easier and convenient for patients to avail of renal care services right in the heart of 𝗂𝗏𝗏. Here at 𝗂𝗏𝗏𝗵𝗏𝗏, another Makati Med Care Access Clinic is located, offering outpatient care like consultation and diagnostic procedures such as medical assistance, hospital admission assistance, blood pressure monitoring, laboratory tests, and X-ray, among others. This is really convenient for those residing in Makati and nearby communities who do not want to proceed to the hospital to have these treatments and procedures done. The Makati Med Wellness Center, located at Ayala North Exchange, is a warm and comfortable space where executive checkups and services for holistic patient care and wellness can be availed of. In this wellness center, we have a skin and laser hub, diagnostic imaging, health screening, mind and wellness care, and physical medicine and rehabilitation. It is equipped with modern facilities and has competent healthcare professionals who are committed to deliver premium, personalized, and easy access healthcare services to adult and pediatric patients alike. It is connected to the main hospital by a bridgeway at the side of Ayala North Exchange. To make our services more accessible to certain areas, the Makati Med Mobile Care Access was launched. As the name suggests, this service is mobile. We go to where you are. Mobile Care Access deploys a team of professionals for face-to-face consultations and to conduct basic laboratory and diagnostic procedures, as well as vaccination and testing, depending on what your community needs. We can go to any location of your choice within the metro and conveniently offer healthcare services to fit the needs of any community or group. For added convenience, different modes of payment are available, inclusive of HMO benefits for those with a valid letter of authorization. Now that is truly accessible healthcare. All these additional locations under Makati Med Care Access are meant to make it easier for more people to avail of our services. After all, access to affordable, quality, and compassionate healthcare is a basic human right, and we at Makati Med are doing our best to make this possible to more people. For your healthcare needs, please visit us at the following Makati Med Care Access Centers or contact us to come to you and allow us to take care of you.
You're back with Healthline, keeping you healthy. Moderated by Nicole Jacinto.
Okay, hi everybody. Welcome back to the show. Thank you for being patient while we resolved some technical issues. Dr. Ibanyo, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
Hello, welcome. Thank you very much. It's been a long few days. Hello. Otherwise, it's been today's been an easy
Benefits for
kind of day.
breastfeeding when it comes to what are the benefits for the baby in the perhaps in the short term and long term. Perhaps you can give us an overview of that.
Okay. So breastfeeding, as I think the one that everybody really knows, is it gives optimal nutrition to the babies. So when we see optimal nutrition, it's the right amount of nutrients, micronutrients, macronutrients, which means the right amount of protein, the right amount of carbohydrates, fats, and then the minerals and vitamins at the right time. So unlike with artificial feeding or with formula feeding, you have to adjust it. So, like for example, the baby turns 6 months, then you have to go into the next step of feeding. With breastfeeding, because the milk will respond to the baby's growth, to the baby's age, then if there is no interim period, there is no transition period. It will just change according to the age.
So
Now,
basically, it's like it's a more natural.
Yes, sorry.
Yes, doctor. So basically, it's like a more natural thing, and the mother's body is timed with the baby's body, and it just works that way in nature.
Correct.
And
So basically, it breast milk in itself already provides not just the nutrients but also a lot of antibodies, which the child will need, especially in the first few months of life, where the baby has
like a
immature. I would call it an immature immune system. And at the same time, the mother is able to also not only just give the protection, but the mother is protected from other illnesses herself. So the mother is protected from breast cancer, from ovarian cancer. And at the same time, the most important thing that the mother is protected against is postnatal maternal bleeding. This is really important because regardless of the technology across different continents, across different decades now, it's still the number one cause of death for a lot of mothers in the first 28 days after they've delivered. In fact, if you take a look at statistics, it's very high in the United States, it's very high in some parts of Europe. And here in the Philippines, it's also, while it might not be as high as in some countries, it's still up there. It's still one of the number one killers of mothers postnatally, postpartum. So breastfeeding helps to prevent that because not just through the hormones itself, but
Mhm.
because the act of breastfeeding
Mhm.
helps to get the uterus back to its original shape, and
Mhm.
it helps to stem the bleeding.
Thank you, doctor. And perhaps we can emphasize that point again later, if you'd like to talk more about the benefits to the mother as well, because as you've explained to us, breastfeeding is not only good for babies, or there was a slogan before, breastfeeding is best for babies. It's also good for the mother. Can I ask you, when it comes to does it make a difference if the mother has a cesarean or has a natural birth when it comes to the danger um of post birth bleeding? Does it make
Postnatal bleeding.
these need yes.
Ideally,
Mhm.
um, they say that the chances might be higher in a natural delivery. They say because there are some statistics and there are some papers that do say some studies that say that it's a little bit more dangerous only because with normal vaginal delivery, um, if there is a bleeding in any of the deep vessels, then it will be difficult. It will take it's a bit of a challenge to get to it. However, um, in as much as there are people that say that this is how it is, there are also as many people that say actually it's the cesarean section is a little bit more dangerous because of course you have to open the mother up, you have to go through layers of tissue and muscles and fat, and you may sever an artery or so. So um, if you look at it
Mhm.
overview, it really will not make a difference whether it's a normal delivery or a cesarean section. The mere act of delivering the child carries with it an increased risk of mortality for mothers, particularly because of bleeding.
Yes. Thank you, doctor. And I'd like to thank my mother and all the mothers out there who put out, especially who put out good good children into this world, good human beings, because when I was growing up, I would hear things like their old sayings like when a woman gives birth, she's got one foot in the grave. So really kudos
Okay.
to all the women who give birth and of course take care of their babies. So doctor, when it comes to uh okay, so when the baby is born, how soon after should if all things considered, typical, it's the situation is okay. How soon after should the mother breastfeed the baby?
So we have practice here in the Philippines. We are very lucky to have it. It's called unang yakap, or it is the essential intrapartum newborn care. Unang
Okay.
yakap sounds very much nicer. I think it's more welcoming. It sounds more welcoming. But basically, these are the four core steps wherein from delivery until the mother is brought to the recovery room or to the wards, to the room. These are the four core steps in which both the mother and the baby transition from that from that birth into outside life, so to speak. So basically, as much as possible, unless it is medically indicated, it provides so that both mother and child are never separated from each other.
Mhm.
So breastfeeding will start as soon as the baby is placed on the mother's chest. And that can happen within the first 5 to 10 minutes of delivery, depending on the type of delivery, of course, on resuscitation of the baby in the sense that how to dry the baby, how to make sure that if there are any fluids in the baby's mouth, it is cleared, and of course, being able to cut the cord as
Mhm.
soon as possible. The baby is already placed. Even that act of placing the baby skin to skin within the first 5 minutes of his or her life is already part of the breastfeeding process.
Oh, okay. That's I mean that's so it's that fast, and it's really that instinctive. Like
Yes.
it's a part of evolution in a sense as human beings. And how about do you also monitor the mother, like the placenta comes out and all that? While that's going on, is
Yes.
the mother still, I mean, do you put the baby right away? Like do you wait for that to come out first, or you put the baby there? But say you monitor the health of both the mother and the baby when it
Yes.
comes.
Yes, the delivery of the placenta will happen very much within the period of time while the baby is there on the chest. So within when the baby is delivered, within about 30 seconds, the baby is completely dried, and then the baby is placed skin to skin. So of course, you can imagine for a normal delivery, skin to skin can mean the chest, but in cesarean section, sometimes it's difficult because there are sterile fields to be observed. So skin to skin means usually it's on the mother's abdomen first before the baby is brought to the mom's chest. And while the baby is on the mom's chest, so
Mhm.
that can take about 30 minutes, even an hour. The placenta is delivered, and all of that will happen in Makati Medical Center. There is the ped side that is monitoring the baby and the mom. There is the OB side that is monitoring the mom as well, and then we even have the anesthesiologist that's also there. So on all sides, plus the nursing, you have very able people that are monitoring both the mom and child. And sometimes we jokingly say even the dad.
Yes. Okay, doctor. Now, so it could be as soon as 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or as soon as that, a few minutes, when the mother starts breastfeeding the baby. And when it how about, okay, so this newborn starts breastfeeding, how often should a newborn be fed when it comes to breastfeeding?
At the
How often
beginning,
is
yes, at the baby is fed according to the baby's wants. Okay, so we call it the baby-led feeding. So the baby on his or her own will be the one that will be waking up, wanting to feed, wanting to latch to mom, wanting to cuddle to mom. And that can happen within a period of anywhere from an interval of 30 minutes all the way to 4 hours. It's different with each child, and each situation is very different.
Mhm.
So, in the first few days, the baby will usually receive what is called colostrum. It's a form of breast milk that's small in quantity. It's dark yellow, and
Mhm.
I always warn the parents and first-time parents, especially, and even grandparents who've never seen it. Please do not wipe it away. Please do not take it out. Think of it as a power bar for your baby, because in
Oh,
that small amount, there's so many calories. There's so many fats, there's so many immune globulins, so many antibodies that's contained in that small amount that will help the baby grow.
and that's the
So,
colostrum,
um,
part of the
yes,
nutrient.
that's the colostrum. That's part of the nutrient. That's part of the feeding. Later on, it will become more mature milk, and when that happens, as the supply grows, then the interval will become more stable. So this means this is where the every 2 to 3 hours comes in, because that's something that moms usually hear.
Yes,
Um, Feeding is every 2 to 3 hours, and that happens usually maybe about the second, third month of life already, because that's when milk is more established. That is when milk is a little bit more. And this is when the baby is able to stabilize themselves a bit more and able to take in the milk better.
okay, doctor. And when it comes to breastfeeding, up to what age should or could a baby or a child be breastfed?
So exclusive breastfeeding in the first 6 months of life, meaning apart from say before kasi talagang nothing talaga by mouth, nothing else but breast milk. But now there are studies that do support that, because us in the Philippines, particularly the women, seem to be low on vitamin D.
Mm.
We do allow vitamin D supplementation to happen even for breastfed infants. Okay, so apart from that, so this is the first 6 months of life. And then when 6 months comes, or after the 6 month, then we start with complementary feeding. So it's breastfeeding plus complementary feeding. If you take a look at the World Health Organization, UNICEF, Philippine Pediatric Society, in American Pediatric Society, the American Academy of Pediatrics, the American Breastfeeding Medicine. If you take a look at all of them, they all recommend up to 24 months and beyond. They don't give a cap as to what is the maximum. Why? So the studies are usually up to 24, 36 months. Beyond which, studies usually, they don't include in the population of studies the older children. So that's the reason why we don't say what is the oldest age. I will almost always leave it to the comfort of the family. It's a family decision. It's a shared decision between the mother and the parents, the family, and the physician. There are many things that that will um, that will get the mother to either stop or have them continue. And of course, it is a personal thing, and it's also an individual thing. I have families where some moms will breastfeed the first child up to 4 years, and the second child they have to stop at a year for whatever reason it is. So it is different. The breastfeeding journey is different for each child, even within the same family, and it is different for each mom.
Thank you, doctor. Okay, now, doctor, are there times or circumstances when breastfeeding may not be ideal, or a mother encounters, we have certain things here. We have like an actual perhaps lack of milk, or are there circumstances when a mother should not be breastfeed? Like, for example, illnesses. Are there any illnesses or things like that that can prevent a mother from breastfeeding, or even have a physician like yourself say, okay, maybe you shouldn't be breastfeeding yourself. Maybe you shouldn't be breastfeeding your baby yourself.
Yeah. We have what we call relative contraindications to breastfeeding from the mom side. We say it's relative contraindication because it will depend on what is the actual situation of the mom. So, for example, if the mom has pulmonary tuberculosis and it's within the first 2 weeks of the initiation of her treatment, then breastfeeding is not recommended. However, beyond 2 weeks, if the mom is already taking the medication, then yes, she can go and she can continue breastfeeding. Hepatitis B is another relative contraindication. If mom is being treated, because some moms are treated by interferon, then that is a decision between her and her physician. But basically, as long as the baby is given the immune globulin and the hepatitis B vaccine within the first 12 hours of life, then breastfeeding can continue. If the mother is, for example, and it's happened with some of our patients where the mother is in critical care for whatever reason. During COVID was a major reason for it. We have moms that have severe coronary artery disease, severe cardiovascular disease, moms that are in the ICU for whatever reason, then that of course is a medical contraindication to breastfeeding. For the babies, there are a few illnesses where babies will not be able to breastfeed. One of which is galactosemia, which is a type of illness where the baby lacks a certain enzyme in their system. So when that happens, then that is one of the major contraindications to breastfeeding, because the baby will not be able to digest the milk properly. So they are given specialized milk formulas that the government actually provides.
Oh, okay. Thank you, doctor. And also, what are the other alternatives to the mother's breast milk? I know we have some, and maybe we can talk about this later, like tips for like if you don't have enough breast milk. I mean, other than illnesses for that the baby may have or the mother may have, or like as you say, if sometimes there are examples when they're in critical condition, or and then during COVID that that happened. Um, what are the alternatives? Like, of course, we know there's formula, but is there also like in history, and I don't know if the term is still used, but there are wet nurses. So is that can you discuss those two alternatives perhaps, or any other alternatives that you know of that are to update all of our knowledge?
Okay. So, of course, since wet nursing, although that is still very much present in
Yes.
our society, um, the first alternative that we usually have, if the mother cannot provide or express the milk herself, would be from our milk bank. In Makati Medical Center, we're actually quite fortunate as we have our own milk bank.
And
And like any bank, like like most milk banks, we subsist solely on donations, which is one of the reasons that we do encourage mothers that we have in Makati Medical Center, when they have excess milk, to please give back and please donate in our milk bank.
yeah.
So from the milk bank, the milk is pasteurized. It undergoes a process where um, where most of the bacterial viral elements are killed off, and essentially we have processed the milk. So the main elements for nutrition and some of the antibodies have survived.
Mhm.
It is still human milk, very much human milk. It's just that we've made it safer for
Mhm.
what whoever the baby is going to be. So that's one alternative. Wet nursing, or the informal
Mhm.
donation of breast milk, is something that still happens.
Mhm.
While it is not medically recommended, we do recognize that it happens. And from our point of view, as long as you do it safely,
Mhm.
meaning you know this person, you know her medical background, the two families have
Mhm.
come to a you've come to a decision to be able to donate the milk. And as long as the age of the baby of the donor is somewhere
Mhm.
within about 3 months to the age of your baby,
Mhm.
then that should be fine. um,
Mhm.
I say this, that again there has to be a decision, because culturally there are many implications with wet nursing and informal donation. So we are predominantly Christian Catholic in the Philippines, and so it's not an issue per se. But we do have our Muslim brethren,
Mhm. Yeah.
where wet nursing and donating of milk becomes an issue because of the
Yeah.
concept of blood brotherhood.
Okay. Yes.
Blood brotherhood essentially is, if I am breastfeeding, I share my breast milk with another woman's child, then my child becomes that other child's sibling. It goes
Yes. So
deeper
they're
than that,
cultural.
but that's culturally speaking, they're siblings. And if, for example, there is a potential that these two will someday become spouses, then of course you have to guard against that, because we know that,
Yes.
again, culturally, that is something that we need to respect. So for their culture, that's not something that is almost always acceptable. Okay. So apart from so as we go down the line, of course, the last is the formula. There is a misconception that lactation consultants in particular were very strict about breastfeeding, that we say absolutely not to milk formula. Um, the notion of milk formula is not that
Mm-hmm.
we don't like it. We recognize that it's there. It has a function. It's just that we don't want it to be the first choice, and we don't want it to be given like it's a candy, like it's a multivitamin that anybody can get it. People need to understand the implications when you feed the baby milk formula. That there are pros and cons to feeding the baby milk formula. I can already hear the grandparents in my ear going, "Well, you
During
were
that
fed
time.
milk formula. You were fed milk formula. You're fine. Look at you. You're a doctor. You're talking about breastfeeding now. There's nothing wrong with it." And I say that, yes, well and good if that is the situation for your family. I'm just saying that not every family has that situation. What we really want is for everybody to consider first and foremost as their
Mm,
choice breastfeeding. It's only
mm,
similar to an antibiotic. If and only
mhm.
if there's a need for it, then that's when we go consider the milk formula. Again, it ranks lowest in if you look at the prioritization.
And I guess maybe just a bit of a comparison between breast milk and formula. We're not saying one or the other here. Let's make that clear. Right? Especially for those grandparents and people. It's an individual choice. It's a choice of the mother, the choice of the family, depending on all circumstances. Your treatment and your recommendations are individualized. That's understood. But I mean, in terms of comparing formula to breast milk, you just said that it could be like an antibiotic or a supplement. So, you really the everyone who has studied this and experts like yourself have come to agree that, in general, breast milk still gives the baby more nutrients.
Yes. Um,
Oh,
we know that breast milk has not yet been completely studied. It's been there since the beginning of time, but
mhm.
it's still not completely studied. To this day, milk formula manufacturers are still trying to unlock exactly what it is in breast milk that makes breast milk.
Yes.
So if you notice, every single year there is a new development. There's a new ingredient that's added, a new HAHA
Mm-hmm.
that's added into milk formulas that is
Mm-hmm.
supposed to make the child superior in terms of the IQ, in terms of
The vitamins. Yeah.
muscle control, etc. But the thing is, they still haven't been able to replicate. Even us, where our line of study is really with lactation and breast milk, we still don't know exactly what are the other nutrients, what are other things that are there. Because ultimately, we have to remind people that breast milk is actually partly a living thing because it
Yes.
has all those immune modulators. It has immune cells in it. They even say that to a certain degree, breast milk has pluripotential, which means that it has cells that are immature that in the right kind of condition can grow to become different kinds of cells.
Mm-hmm.
And, again, this is something that is studying, something that I guess is for the future. But
Mm-hmm.
again, that's one of the reasons why nobody's actually been able to replicate breast milk per se because of that.
Thank you, doctor. Okay, when it comes to donor milk, I just like to circle back to that a bit. You did say that, okay, let's say there are mothers or women who have just given birth, let's say in Makati Med, and you do have a a breast milk bank. Yes. Okay. So,
Yes.
just to you explained to us that in case there are people freaking out, I don't know. I want to try the donation. I just like to emphasize this of another mother or someone who's just given birth, and but you did but I'm not sure. What if it's dirty? What if it's this? What if it didn't? Because it's not coming directly from my own breast. The thing is, you did mention that you pasteurize it, and it's still healthy because not everything gets killed with the pasteurization. It's just perhaps any bacteria, just like to emphasize that to make it clear, it may come from transferring it from one, from the actual breast to a container. And
Yeah.
then donate breast milk. Are there many people who share? And then do people like come back and donate breast milk if they have a lot of milk? Let's say they're out of the hospital already, they're feeding their own baby. Do you find those circumstances where women will come back to donate breast milk?
Okay, so the first part of the question first, which is that with pasteurization, yes, we're able to kill a lot of the viral and bacterial elements. It's not just bacteria, but even the viral elements. HIV, for example, which is a major concern in a lot of parents, is killed by pasteurization. Of course, there are some viruses that are not killed by simple pasteurization, but that that's a topic for another time. That's a
Yes,
okay.
of course.
And then
Okay.
if mothers, yes, we do find that we have mothers that have given birth. Majority of the women who do end up donating in our milk bank in Makati Med, I cannot say the same for say the milk bank in 𝗂𝗶𝘶, PGH or PCMC, in St. Luke's BGC in Bangkal, in Hospital ng Muntinlupa in Batangas. I cannot say the same for them, but for at least for us in Makati Med, majority of our donors are moms who have had babies in the ICU because they know the value of the milk, and then somehow they have by miracle, by I always say, when you have a lot of milk, it is one part genetics, it is one part miracle, it is one, and it is a big part of your hard work because it is hard work to make the milk. And a lot of moms that have experienced having gone through the experience of not having enough milk at the beginning for their child and having somebody donate the milk to them, do come back and give back, quote unquote. They end up donating to milk back. We do, however, have other moms who had, well babies, as we call them, children who've had no issues. They go to pediatricians in Makati Medical Center. They are patients also of our obstetricians and our lovely staff in Makati Medical Center. That part of their giving back is just to donate the milk. They just, out of the goodness of their own hearts, they come in, they come back, and then they do donate the milk. And some of these moms, I have a few who are under my care, their children are under my care, who have donated all the way until their children were about a year and a half to 2 years old when they were finishing their breastfeeding journey. They were able to donate those, and I always say, much the same as us donating blood, you can never know how many you help when you donate milk as well. Because just because it's a bottle of milk doesn't necessarily mean that you're just donating to one child. Chances are that one bottle of milk might actually be helping 2 to 3 children all at the same time. So I think the concept, when it's put to them, a lot of these women are able to do come back and do donate. There is no money exchange in milk bank. Of course, for people who need to be able to, the whole processing costs money, and that is what they pay for. But in terms of money, actual money that you're paying for processed milk, pasteurized milk, there is no money there because much like blood, it's a donation.
Yes.
Milk is a body fluid.
You're not buying milk. You're just, if there are any fees at all, it's just to pasteurize the milk and of course maintain. Do you use okay, well, we'll get to, these are all kind of tied together, no? How do you store breast milk safely whether it's donated or it's your own. And if you have a lot of milk, because I've met mothers, of course, who, like, they say their breasts hurt, and okay, this is one of the things too. What should a mother do if there's pain when it comes to breastfeeding, or breastfeeding is painful? And what are the usual things? So one is that they put it out there, they feel that their breasts are heavy and they need to express it, when it comes to the milk. Are there other things like, perhaps dry skin, other types of pain, anything like that?
There are different challenges that we face whenever we're talking about breastfeeding moms. So, at the very beginning, a major issue that they do have is that they sometimes have cracks, and they have wounds on their wrists and on their nipples. There's chafing, and
Yes.
we do have creams, and we do assist moms with that, because majority of the time, the big issue with that actually has to do with the positioning. So the
Okay.
baby is not latched properly, the baby is not positioned properly. So it ends up that the baby is trying to hold on for dear life.
And biting, or
Yeah, they end up either biting, or they end up um injuring the mom
Mhm.
in the long run. So that's one part of it. But as
Mhm.
they get a bit older, the child and the mom might undergo several changes. So later on, there might be some teething. So there's a little bit of swelling on the child's gums,
Mhm.
or the child starts actually
Yeah.
eating complementary feeding, because again, breastfeeding is for beyond 6 months. And when that
Mhm.
happens, there are some children wherein the way that they suckle the mom's breast becomes quite different. There is uh, a way that they use to breastfeed that mom is becomes very comfortable with, and then it goes and changes, and it's almost like it's starting all over again, and that can cause pain.
I'm sorry,
Um,
Mom, if I did that to
yeah,
you.
and then later on, there are moms wherein they do have either every time that it's time for baby to feed, the breast becomes very heavy and it becomes quite painful. And
Mhm.
most of the time, what happens if they are not with the baby,
Mhm.
it's that they are unable to express their milk properly. If you're a working mom and
Mhm.
you do not get the proper lactation break that is
Mhm.
provided for you by law,
Mhm.
or there is no facility for you to be able to express your milk properly. Some moms have no problems in the cubicle. They will start uh, putting on their pumps, or they'll do hand expression. But some moms, they really need to be in a certain type of room,
Yes.
a certain type of, I guess, in a certain environment for them to be comfortable enough to express their milk. And if they don't get that, it's difficult for them to express. And this is where sometimes they retain the milk, and this becomes painful. So when that happens, we also have measures to be able to counter that. Cold compress, warm compress. Sometimes we teach them a little bit of massage that they
Mhm.
can do to release the milk. And then we do tell them that you need to be able to express your milk. If it's really, really tender, I always tell my patients, start with hand expression first. I know that it's sometimes, it's daunting. It will take more time than if you just put on the pump. But
Yeah.
the benefit is that it allows you to be able to properly express the milk without having to injure your wrists, which is
Mhm.
more beneficial for you, obviously, in the long run.
And yes to breast pumps, right? And are there, I've seen a breast pump before that is, it's a machine. There are some that are just simply plain. What are the types now, and what are the most recommended, if there are any? There is it just a simple pump where you pump it and it comes out, aside from expressing it with your by massaging it slowly for it to come out? where does it go straight to a bottle? And then there goes my question of how do you store it safely? If you know
Yeah.
you say you're at work or somewhere else, you do the pump and your baby's not with
Yes.
you, press it, or maybe
How
for
to
those
do
who
it.
donate, right? Like, oh, I have too
Yes,
much
that's
now. I'd
right.
like what just sort of
Uh,
advice and how to store it safely
yeah.
for
So yeah. So with the pump, there is no one recommended pump. We always tell the parents, you know what? Unfortunately, that's one of the things where you're going to have to kind of try, and it's a trial and error kind of thing. One
Mhm.
kind of pump might work best on one mom, but it might not work best for you because there are as many types of breasts and as many types of moms as there are pumps out there in the world. I have some patients where they will only be able to express milk if it's hand expression rather than a pump. I have some patients where they're able to express this their milk, but only with this kind of pump versus another kind of pump. So again, it will be dependent on the situation of the mom. It will be dependent on what is easy for her to use. And so usually with that, we sometimes I tell the patients, okay, come on in, you let me know ano ba yung, what are your goals, how do you want to do this, and then we can narrow it down. Okay, storage of breast milk. So um, they I have I have a what I call a rule of six, but for the for milk kasi that is out in room temperature, sometimes it becomes 2 hours or 4 hours lang, depending on how hot it is. So the
Mm.
rule of six is if you pump your milk and you put it out there, you just place it on a table and it's room temperature. Room temperature being up to 30 degrees centigrade. So I'm very
Fahrenheit.
specific about that.
Okay.
Yeah, 30 degrees centigrade. It has to be said because here in the Philippines,
Yes.
sometimes we go all the way to 34. And there are
Yeah.
even some provinces that 43.
Yeah.
Now, if room temperature
That's
is
one.
30 degrees, yes, you can it can stand to be there for as long as 6 hours.
Okay.
To be on the safe side, before you need to store it to either refrigerator or freezer,
Mhm.
um, give it a margin of about more or less 2 to 4 hours. And then you're going to need to put it really in the refrigerator. In the refrigerator, I always say to keep it fresh, keep it for
Mhm.
at least just at most about six, no more than 6 days, about a week in
Yes.
the refrigerator. Um, Usually less than a week, in less than a day, if it's in the refrigerator, that's going to be finished. That's going to be all finished up by the baby naman. But
Yes.
just in case there's a little bit of milk that will stay in the refrigerator,
Mhm.
no more than 6 days. I
No more.
always say no more than 6 days.
Just use it
And
for
make
your yeah.
sure
Mhm.
Yes. And make sure that if it's in the refrigerator, you try to keep it away from the light, and then as much as possible, it's in a separate plastic container again, where it doesn't mix with other food smells because the thing about breast milk is that it will take on the smell
Yes.
of food that's next to it. Now, if you're going to freeze the milk,
Mhm.
then it can keep for 6 months in a two-door refrigerator.
Okay. In a
So a one-door refrigerator is no more than 2 weeks
mhm.
that the milk is stored in the freezer. But in a two-door refrigerator, it will keep for as long as 6 months. So
Doctor, I'm
six
so happy.
months, yes,
Like
yeah. And
it's
then
very specific.
meron pa. Yeah. If you have a deep freezer, you know those deep freezers for
Yes.
steaks and for ice cream, like in the grocery, it will keep for 12 months.
Wow. Okay. Doctor, I'm so happy that you emphasize that. And that's very, very informative and educational because you're right. If it's a one door refrigerator and the freezer is on top, you open it more often. no, to get the other
Yes,
stuff from the
that's right.
So if it's a
Yes.
refrigerator, the other side is for the freezer. Yes, it's not open unless you really need something from the freezer, like ice or
Correct.
something. Okay, and then if you have those, so for the refrigerator, 6 days or a week after that, you can just maybe, you know, I'm sure you can drink breast milk like in somebody else's coffee. Useless thing, right? Okay, and then for the, just to repeat, for the two-door refrigerator, how long can you store it again?
No more than 2 weeks.
No more than 2 weeks. And for the deep freezer, you can actually store it up to 12 months.
Okay. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you, Doctor. Those are so many things that I'm glad, we can inform people, use this platform to inform them. I mean, things do change over time, recommendations, and this is so interesting. And I really want to thank you for being so very articulate and for being very specific about, about how to handle breast milk safely, about the benefits of to the mother and the child, and for other women as well. And doctor, I mean, is there any? I'm told we're running out of time, but please, you have the floor. Is there anything you'd like to say, recommend, any advice for women who are thinking of breastfeeding their children, or perhaps using donor milk? Anything at all?
So for women who are getting married or still single, but you're actually considering parenthood, please consider breastfeeding. I
Mhm.
always say breastfeeding starts prior to pregnancy.
Mhm.
So if you put it in your mindset, that goes a long way.
Mhm.
As you're pregnant, ask your doctor, ask your OB. Our OBs in Makati Medical Center have taken the courses. They know about breastfeeding, so ask them. We have classes that are available online every month that you can access, and it's all for free. Please do so, just so your awareness and your knowledge on breastfeeding increases. As I tell some of my patients, you get ready for your baby by buying the clothes, buying the diaper. We have pregnancy, maternity shoots. We have gender reveal parties. So it should be just as well that we need to get ready for breastfeeding. So
Yes.
take, even if it's just one class,
Mhm.
or look online. There are very reputable websites that you can go to where you can get guidance on breastfeeding. Don't let it scare you. I promise you that it is less scary than you think it is.
Mhm.
Once you are in Makati Medical Center and getting ready for your delivery, I suggest that you get in touch. You can ask your OB to help you with it, but get in touch with their lactation services. So each station, particularly the fifth
Mhm.
floor, and in the OB maternity area, have
Mhm.
lactation nurses. These are nurses that are trained specifically to assist you. Our residents, both in OB, GYN, and pediatrics, and even anesthesiology, have taken a course on the basics of breastfeeding, and they will be able to start your journey in breastfeeding.
Mhm.
While in medical center, if there's an issue with breastfeeding, we have 5 lactation consultants, where four of us are internationally board certified lactation
Okay. Thank
to assist you.
Doctor. I sorry, I have to make habble this question. It just came in while you were talking. Someone is asking, can I breastfeed even though I have breast implants? Hello?
Hello,
Hi, doctor.
I think,
Sorry, yeah. So I just
yeah.
have to make habble this question. Somebody, it came in while you were talking. Someone's asking, a listener's asking, can I breastfeed while I have breast implants?
Yes, you can.
Yes.
It's
Okay.
always been a notion that if you have breast implants, that's the end of the journey before you even begin. But no, there are ways to be able to breastfeed with breast implants. And um, in my 14 years of being a lactation consultant, we have had many patients with breast implants that have successfully breastfed their infants.
Thank you, doctor. Thank you for taking the time and effort to be with us on the show, for sharing your knowledge, and I hope you come back to talk about different matters. I mean, we'd really like the show to be a platform to disseminate information that for people to have healthier and uplifting lifestyles. And in solidarity with those women who breastfeed, don't be ashamed of it. I'm not wearing a bra today. Okay, thank you guys. That's for you. Thank you, doctor, for being on the show. Okay, please
Thank
come back
you.
anytime. Bye,
Thank you
doc.
very much.
Guys, tune in next week to Healthline with Makati Med. I'm your host, Nicole Jacinto. We've had a very great guest today, Dr. 𝗛𝗶𝗁𝗵𝗶, pediatrician, pediatric specialist, and we talked about breast milk and its benefits. So anyway, stay tuned for Kakampi Bernard Tan. He's on right after this. Doctor, thank you so much, and please come back
Thank
soon.
you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to Healthline with expert doctors from Makati Med, giving you the chance to interact, uplifting your lifestyle. Moderated by Nicole Jacinto. Tune in again next week for your weekly dose of Healthline.
The views and comments of the hosts and guests are not necessarily those